The Night of the Long Knives. So, because of the digital way that we communicate, now 80–90% of all our communication is digital. The digital world is in between people. The digital world is in control, you could say. And you've just made a bird. Sorry. Yeah. It's a bird. It's a bird and it's flying. Okay, that's very cool. So history repeats. There's nothing new. There's nothing new in the world. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything is a repetition of things that happened before. And we are blessed in the sense that most of us don't think in terms of war and conflict. Most of us think in terms of, what do I have to do today, and how can I live my life, and how can I help people? But that's how most people think. We don't think about things in a excuse me one second. Girls, you have to be quiet, okay? It's a rule. So we don't think of things in military terms. Now, if you're in business, there's a lot of military language in business. A campaign, a marketing campaign is military language. Things going on. Girls, first warning of 3, okay? You have to be a bit more quiet. You can communicate with each other, just be a bit more quiet, okay? Okay. Most governments, people don't want to think about it, like most governments are military organizations. And we have military for a reason. We have armies for a reason. We like to think that things are peaceful. They are relatively peaceful, but let's be honest, governments have people who are employed to kill people. They kill other people in order to protect themselves. Businesses business is see how much happier we are when children are around. It's good for us psychologically. So yeah, I did the biggest amount of business, and this is in my next book, which I still have to get the final draft of it and get it out. There's a whole chapter in my. I'm so worried I'm not going to get my next book out. There's a whole chapter in my new book about the connection between corporations and militaries and how they work together. And like, here's an example for you to maybe understand. Here's an example for you to understand. A very large company that you know right, just made a deal with, I was reading it, they just made a deal with Greenpeace to work together. Greenpeace is a global environmental organization. Not. Greenpeace is a private military army. Greenpeace is a military organization that rents or hires themselves to people for protection. This whole idea that they protect different parts of the world is just a front. It's not what they really do. They really make they've got weapons and guns and planes and boats, and they're an army. Greenpeace is an army. It's a for-hire army to protect whatever you want to protect. And of course, all war is for territory. And Greenpeace is an organization that protects territory. So yeah, just put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So, so this very large organization just done a partnership with Greenpeace for a very specific reason: to protect themselves in the future socio-economic war that is going to happen between businesses and companies. And maybe to be slightly aggressive in that war as well. Militaries go into other countries to smooth the way for businesses to go into other countries. That's how the Romans took over Europe. That's how the Egyptians took over various areas. First you go in, you set up your own rules, you take over, you set up your own rules, and then your businesses come in and run everything. All governments are military organizations underneath. They've got the marketing of they work for the people. They should, but they don't always do that. The American government is a military organization. The commander-in-chief or the president is the commander-in-chief. That's the other title of the president. The other title of the other title of the president is the commander-in-chief. This goes back to the time of George Washington, where George Washington led the American armies in the American Revolution. Of course, if you go back and look at history, George Washington lost most of his battles. He lost. You understand? He lost. Like 90% of his battles, he lost. He lost. But the reason how he became an iconic figure and was part of a transformation in history was that he did not stop. He did not give up. He kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting against everyone and everything. Basically, we have a situation that is a repetition of the events of 250 years ago, where there is a president who is prepared to fight and who has said, I will never surrender, I will never stop, and I will never give up. And he will use the military to prevent any damage to the US Constitution. At this moment in time, large-scale military forces are moving into Washington, D.C. from all over the world. You will not see this on the news, because according to the news media, this is not happening. Because everything is okay, everything is under control. Don't worry, everything is fine. We, the great leaders of your country, have everything under control. We're here to save you. Don't worry, we've got everything organized. It's all for you. We love you. Meanwhile, the truth is very different from that. The truth is that there are more military forces active at this moment in time than have ever been active in history before. They are circling the air. The nuclear submarines are out. The airspace across the United States, many parts of the United States is shut down. You're not allowed to fly planes. This is due to the threat of an air war. The air is clear. In the next 9 days, if you look carefully enough, you will see a massive conflict worldwide. The result of that conflict, as yet, we do not know. We don't know how the game will finish. We know there's a game, but we don't know the final score. And my original prediction is based on the fact that this game was always coming. and that I think the final score is going to be quite different from what people perceive it as at this moment in time. Now, the great thing is, I can be wrong. Right? I can be wrong. And I think that's okay. Because I think it's okay to look at the game and say, this is what I see. This team should win. But they don't always win, right? The team that should win doesn't always win.
Mm.
Some things are unpredictable in life. We don't know. But all of the signs are that the next 9 days will be the most interesting 9 days for maybe the last 2,000 years. Or at least, you know, during the Cold War, there was a Russian submarine out in the, I don't know if it was in the Atlantic or Pacific, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I live near a military base. I've had military planes circling here for like a week, constantly, right? The military activity here is just right now. It's crazy. So, who knows what's really going on? So what I wanted to, Cold War. There was a Russian submarine in one of the big oceans, the Atlantic or Pacific, I can't remember which one, that lost radio contact with Moscow. It was a Russian nuclear submarine, and they lost all radio contact with Moscow. What do you think the captains, because the submarine doesn't have one captain, a submarine actually has 3 captains. There's a very good reason why a submarine has 3 captains. You know why? You know why submarines have 3 captains? Because the final decision cannot be the decision of one person.
Mm.
All 3 captains have to agree. All 3 captains have to agree. 2, not good enough.
No. Mm.
3 captains have to agree. The Russian submarine lost contact with Moscow. 2 of the captains were like, we lost contact with Moscow. Probably nuclear strike. America probably took out Moscow. 2 of the captains. 3rd captain, we don't know. Third captain said, we don't know. Maybe there is a problem with the radio, right? Maybe it's a technical problem. We don't know. Because the protocol is to strike back. If Moscow gets hit, then the Russian nuclear submarines launch all their missiles. This is standard operating procedure. Fire with all guns, basically. Fire with all guns. And this one man, this one captain on the submarine who said, maybe there's a problem somewhere. Maybe the radio is broken. This one man saved the world. Saved the world. And nobody really knows, because nobody knew what was happening at the time, because the public have their pop culture and their magazines and their personal interests and intrigues. Let me get his name. The man who saved the world, Russian submarine captain. Vasily Arkhipov. Vasily Andreevich Arkhipov was a Russian Navy officer credited with preventing a Soviet nuclear strike during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was second in command of a diesel-powered submarine. The other captains had authorized the use of nuclear torpedoes, a decision requiring the agreement of all three officers. He refused to agree, and as a result, saved the world. October the 27th, 1962. It's funny, the strange information we learn on our journey through life. We are very much in a digital Cold War right now, where it is what it is. Good things will happen and bad things will happen. And I still think that the window is getting smaller, but I still think that there's a possibility that my original prediction will be true. It's smaller than it was before, but it's still there, because the truth is, you can't let the people decide the future of your country, because the people don't know. The people don't know. They don't understand macroeconomics. They don't understand international trade. They don't understand protection of borders. They don't understand. You can't let people decide. You can't. I mean, you've got to leave it to a lot of the time a lot more experienced people. And this is what this is the stage that we're in right now. But the final result of the game isn't decided yet. But in fact, it might be, we might be at this Orwellian point in time where there is a revolution, but nobody knows about it. There's a revolution, but nobody knows about it, because everyone is just so entertained or busy with life, right? Just like taking care of yourself and doing your business and contacting clients and doing the shopping and keeping the home clean and tidy and getting the car to the garage and repairing things that are broken and just the endless tasks of life. The endless tasks of life. Yeah. So there's still time, and if I'm wrong, it's a good thing. If I'm wrong, it's a good thing, because I have to reconfigure the information to process. Okay, that was a wrong judgment because of other things moving. But I think if we watch very, very carefully, a lot of things that people are not prepared for are going to happen. Really interesting times. It's a great time to be alive, because all these things are happening and going on in the background. I will send you a link to the Russian man who saved the world. I don't think we ever get the complete truth about history. We just get little bits and pieces of things that we have to put together. Anyway, that was that was my prediction. There's still time.
Yes.
There's still time. You see, as long as the clock is still ticking, tick tick tick. As long as the clock is still ticking, there's still time. And we've all seen these sports events where the little guy wins. Right? It happens sometimes. The underdog. We've all seen those where from time to time it actually happens that somebody who we don't expect to win or don't expect to do something actually wins. So